All right, welcome back. On RealCopStoriesVideos.com, we have 358 cop stories. Look them up, 7 to 10 to 11 minutes. They're pretty good. There's probably 10% or a little bit more, or about 10. Vice related. I put gross alerts on there because some of them are really gross. Some of them are, 45 years later, I still can't unforget them, the vice stuff. So look them up, all you perverts look up those. And then there's all kinds of regular stuff. Gangs, crash, foot pursuits, vehicle pursuits. You'll love them all. They're my babies. And attached to that website, we have 146 questions and answers. So ask me a question, I'll answer it to you directly, and then we'll do it on tape. So when you ask me a question, go to this site at rsbcopstories@gmail.com, and I'll answer your questions. Now here's another question that came up.
How long do squads stay together?
Okay, there's obviously individual officers. You look at my stories, you'll see all the stuff. I had partners. Now we're going to squads. When I made detective, usually in the detective function you get squads normally. It just depends on what you're doing. But I went to what they call a major squad, which is basically surveillance, preparing search warrants, and serving warrants to dealers, not street level. This is dealers that are dealing in multi-kilos. Kilos being 2.2 pounds. The international kilo size is used in the drug trade, so we use that as part of our procedures. Anyway, so usually it's large scale seizures and whatnot. So I went to the squad. There was 6 employees and 1 top step. Okay, so 7 of us are in there. There was a top step, 2 assistant supervisors, and that's 3. And then there's 4 of us that were worker bees, so to speak. We're all detectives. And a big change for me, because I'm used to being with a partner, doing partner things, but now you're going to squad concept. So you're pretty much selected for a lot of reasons, and I fit all the reasons. Anyway, so I'm there. And so I'm making cases, everybody's making cases, all 4 of us, trying to, we talk to informants, you get calls from patrol officers, you get calls from citizens, and you work together. And you work together and you work separately. And that's a weird statement. Here's how it is. 7 of you follow a suspect to see if he's trafficking in narcotics. In following this individual, all 7 of us are by ourselves in individual undercover cars, okay, surveillance cars. We have radios and all that stuff. Okay, they're all outfitted with stuff. And so this is the squad concept. So we got a target. One guy watches the house. The rest of us are scattered. The guy starts to move, and we follow him in concert. It's neat to watch. I wish I could show you, but I can't. But it's basically the crooks moving, and there's a couple cars back is the next officer, another officer behind him, and then the parallel streets. You have officers moving parallel. It's really neat to watch. I call it kind of like a poetry in motion kind of thing. It's almost like a play. It's so nice. It really is. When it goes well, it's really nice. When it goes bad, it's extremely bad. Okay. But a bad meeting, you run into a guy, he runs into you, all kinds of bad things. Really, not run into you, but literally, I mean, figuratively speaking, he sees you. Okay. So anyway, so we did this, and we had one person leave to promote one of the assistants, and then another assistant came in, and so we're working. And I did this for 6 years. Okay, 6 years, mainly because I enjoyed it. One of the reasons why I enjoyed it, probably the primary reason. Second, it was very challenging to make these cases. Third, I respected the top step at the time, although in about the 4th year, his personality started to change. It turns out his wife was cheating on him, and he was bringing it to work, which he shouldn't do that. I know it's hard to do, we're humans, but he brought it to work. Attitude got tough. He got very curt in his attitude, kind of snippety. It started to fall apart, and it's too bad. I mean, and so we all moved up in position because my partner and I, both low detectives, both made first-level supervisors. He became the assistant squad leader. I'm under him, and then we had other people we brought in. So the squad changed in those mostly towards about the 4th year personnel because people were promoting out, and but it changed in the sense that the top step changed, and it's like I'm sure you work out there. You have a boss. Pretty cool, and then he leaves, or he or she starts changing, and then pretty soon the guy you respected and loved turns out that you're starting to not like him, and then you're starting to not enjoy where you're going to work with him, and then you start looking around to go somewhere else. And in our profession, as long as you have the rank, you can pretty much go anywhere. In other words, you can't obviously, if you're a low life, become a supervisor. You have to find a position. Low life means low level detective. You have to find that slot, that position somewhere else. But there's hundreds of them. So I believe in loyalty in the sense that he brought me up here. I enjoyed him. I'm going to have a good time, but also have to have it reverse. Respect has to run both ways here. I'm here voluntarily. I'm not here because I have to be here. Same with everybody else. So after about close to the 6th year, we had a little falling out, personality conflict, but I think maybe it was time to move on. And so, to answer the question, we're there 6 years in the squad. I thought that was tremendous. Again, talking about working with partners for such a long time on the last videos I made. Very extremely rare to have people work that long together. Because even though you're separated, you're always together at the end of the day, the beginning of the day. You go to training days together, you sit in office together while you're preparing for cases, you do the search warrants together. Even though you're apart doing the actual following, that's about, I don't know, maybe 80% of your work time. The other 20% is being together. And even that doesn't seem like a lot, but it is if you start getting at each other's nerves, okay? If you love everybody and you're kumbaya, it's great. But if you have conflict and you look across the guy over there across the table, you kind of like, I hate his guts, and it's not going to go very well, okay? Especially with police, men and women that are alphas. We're alphas. This is an alpha position. This is, in our narcotics division where I worked, there was about 430 detectives in there and officers. Okay, 430 out of 9,000 officers. So I'm not a math major, but that's a really small percentage. Probably doesn't even come up on the Richter scale. And we're handpicked, hand-selected from all the hundreds and not thousands of detectives that are out there. It's an elite unit, and we're all there because we're all alphas. Okay, and we're very, and of course, we're coming with the alpha work ethic. You want to get things done, we go out there and work, boom, boom. It comes to personality. Everybody thinks they're top people, which we are, but then again, you can't let that get to your head. Okay, you got to be realistic here. Okay. Anyway, so that was the first squad, and that was a 6-year one, and that was pretty good. Okay, then again, it wasn't going well, so I was looking to leave, and in order for me to promote, I needed to be an assistant squad leader. Okay, there's a squad leader top step, and then there's other lower supervisors. Well, you need to be the assistant because you're basically, in the eyes of the command, they have like 9 squads, and those 9 assistant squad leaders are all being looked at to take the place when either the other top step retires or there's an opening. They're going to look at those 9 or 10 to move into the top step spot. And to make top step, I'll get into that later, you're selected for that. So I was an assistant squad leader. I was one away from that. So I'd been there a couple years now, not being an assistant squad leader. I thought maybe I should do that. So need to move on. Things were, planets were lined up. I need to go. Okay, and it wasn't anything against him. It's just the way it went. So one day things happen. Planets line up. I'm out. There's a cop restaurant bar that we all go to after work, and we're all sitting there drinking and whatever. And I see one of my old partners that I work with in Vice. He's a top step. We greet each other. I've seen each other about 3 or 4 years. Hey, how's it going? And we're talking about work. What else you going to talk about? Okay. And then he says, gee, I have an opening for an assistant squad leader. Okay. Bing. Okay. You talk about planets lined up. And I went, oh, I see. Because he did not know I wanted to leave. Because everybody knows, there's only like 9 squads. Everybody knows the other squad's members. There's not a secret who's working where and what. And no secret that which squads are successful, which squads are having problems, which squads suck. That pretty much goes out, common knowledge. And so it appeared that we were getting along well, which we did. It was nothing, just that people move on. And so he didn't know that there was any kind of conflict. And I said, oh, by the way, I don't want to pimp myself, but I'm looking to leave, and I want to be assistant squad leader. He goes, tomorrow. How's that tomorrow? I mean, he'd been looking for a while, and he's taking calls, and people are calling him, and he's giving like over the phone interviews and stuff. And he wants to find somebody that he knows, that A, he knows, B, he's worked with before, 3, he can trust with his squad when he's off. Well, shoot. I'm right here. It's a dream for him. Later on, when I start doing that myself, very rare. It's a dream to find employees like that. I plucked a bunch of them later on. I'll explain later. Very rare to do that. It's kind of neat when you get that. Anyway, so I said, oh, it sounds great. So the next day, he went in and told the captain, and literally the next day there was some paperwork, and then the following day I was gone. I grabbed all my stuff, and I was working another squad, doing the same thing, but now I changed position. Now there's another squad, and we went from the first squad. How much time do I have to the next squad? We're doing okay. Yeah, the next one. Okay, got the nod here from my tech expert here. So now I'm in a new squad. Okay, I got top step over me. Now I'm the assistant, and nobody under me, but I've got like 6 employees working for me. No, I don't have another supervisor, just me and the boss. So I'm thinking, okay, great, that's gonna be great. Then here I'm gonna mold these guys, and it's like a politician. I'm gonna go to Washington D.C. I'm gonna change everything. You want to go there and go, I can change 1 or 2 things. I can't change everything. Okay? That's the reality of life. And I went in there, and I came from a squad. Remember now, there was 6 of us, highly motivated, knew each other, worked well, been recommended. I go to a squad here where I get in there and nobody, first of all, they weren't picked by me. My top step kind of inherited 3 of them, so he didn't have a chance to pick 3. And the other 3 were okay, but I found these guys were almost dysfunctional in the sense of doing work. They were not alphas, there were 2 or 3 betas in there, and not really motivated and not really knowledgeable of how we do things. So I had a dual role now. I had to run the squad when the boss isn't there. I had to be his mouthpiece, and then I had to teach these guys how to do this type of enforcement. Okay, and everybody can do it. It's very difficult to do this. So it turned out to be almost a training class for the next year. Seriously, a year, every day, doing this, okay? Difficult. You know, it's like going to an assembly line, you hire someone and said, you got to run that lathe machine, and they don't know how to run the lathe machine. Okay, they hired him, and here he is, and there he's sitting there looking at you like, kind of like, whoa, what am I doing here? Well, okay, that's pretty much what it was. So I had a real dominant guy that turned out, we used to call him Cement Head. I didn't call him Cement Head, one of his other guys. Very dense. You try to tell him something, and he just gave you that look, you know, like, you know, 'cause he was nothing against these people, but he was a bodybuilder, you know, steroid man, rumors of it. And because it's in our department, you cannot use steroids. It's considered a drug. I mean, you know, you can't. It's like using heroin and stuff. He's not supposed to use it. But so he got a little mentality that he's not that bright. I don't know whether it's the drugs or whether he's just not that bright. Who knows? So that's what happened. So we were there. We didn't do many cases because I did most of the cases, and I was supposed to do cases. Assistants don't do cases, but I saw that it was lacking, so I just jumped right in, and I was doing a case about every month, and these guys all together were doing like 1 a month, and we're going up like 3 cases a month, which is, I don't consider that good output from a unit that the city that you pay for. That output is kind of substandard. It really is. But I worked my butt off. I taught them how to do surveillance. They didn't get along well. There was some arguments. There was some discussions. It was pretty bad. But I'll tell you one thing. It taught me the importance of choosing the right people for an assignment and not just getting people handed to you. You know, and so that's what happened there. So those are the 2 squads. The beginning one I started with the 6-7 person squad. Excellent. And then moved into the next one, which is almost dysfunctional. It improved. Took a year. Took almost 2 years, and they got pretty good at it, but not as good as what you expect the first time. Okay, but I'm running out of time, and I'll continue this on the next video. Okay. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye bye.